It's important to do a service station cleaning at least once a month, more if you're using the printer less, and whenever you change a print head. When you're changing a print head, you don't want to put a new print head in with a dirty service station. Otherwise, if there's any debris in that service station, it may push it up into the nozzles of your new print head, damaging your new print head. One of the nice features of the Trojan 1 is we can do a wiper inspection and look at the wiper module without taking it out of the printer to determine if it needs to be cleaning. Again, we're going to clean it at least once a month, but this is a handy in-between way to check it. So we're going to push the wiper inspect button, and as soon as we hear the service station start to move, we're going to open the clamshell, and it will present the wiper module and turn it so that you can look at it and see if it needs to be cleaned. The first thing we need to do is remove the center bar. Open the ink door and the lid. This center bar needs to be removed to remove the service station. There's two clasps on the back of the bar. You slide toward the center, and then the bar is easily removed. These clasps just go over these little pegs here. To eject the service station on the Trojan 1, we're going to go to the Printer tab, Maintenance menu, and push Eject Maintenance Module. This is going to give us a warning that we need to open the clamshell. Do the paper first. Okay, we're going to open the lid, and then we're going to open the clamshell. The warning is telling us that if we don't open the clamshell, the service module is going to run into the back of the cutter. If it runs into the back of the cutter, it will break something. So you want to make sure the clamshell is open. Once the clamshell is open, we select OK on the warning, and you'll see the service station move to the home position, and then it will eject out of the front of the printer. Okay, for the next step, you want to make sure you have your gloves on your hands to protect them. You want to have a piece of cardboard too thick to set the service station on. And you want to have a blue paper towel to put under the drain for the service station. And all I've done is folded it over so that it enforces, so that it's thick. We're going to grab the service station. The drain side is right here on this side of the service station. And there's one wire that we need to remove. This wire is removed. It's a zero force insertion clip. So very gently we're going to open this clip with our fingernail, and then this wire will come out of the connector. This wire is live, so we do not want to lay it flat on the metal. However, the natural lay of the wire will be on its edge, so we just want to make sure we're careful with it. Alright, so we're going to set down the service station on the towel. Again, this is so that it doesn't soak through onto your work table. The service station has three components to it. The first is the cap. This keeps the head from drying out. The second is the print block, which is used during printing. And the third is the wiper module, which is part of the automatic cleaning system. On the cap, you really don't need to clean it when you clean the service station, although you can see that sometimes there'll be ink that builds up here over time, and you can use a blue towel to wipe that out without removing the service station. Just opening the clamshell will expose the cap for a few seconds, giving you time to go in and wipe that. Just make sure you're ready to wipe when you open the clamshell. If you didn't get it all done, just close the clamshell, wait for a few seconds for the cap to come back into position, and then you can open the clamshell and wipe it again. It's important to remember when you're working with the service module outside of the printer, there will be ink in it, so we don't want to turn this upside down, and we want to make sure that we set it in a safe place. This is the print block. The print block doesn't really need to be cleaned when you clean the service module. However, there will be paper dust potentially that builds up along there, and again, you can wipe that out at any time without removing the service station to keep the paper dust from getting into the print head. The final module is the wiper module, and the wiper module needs to be removed. In order to remove the wiper module, because this is what we're going to clean, we need to remove the connector board on the back and then feed the wire out through the service station. And we're going to do that right now. To remove the connector board, we're going to gently lift up on this tab and lean the board forward. So as I lift up on the board is just going to fall forward. Okay. Now we're going to remove the connector wire from the connector board, and we're going to do it by grabbing both the board and the wire and gently rocking back and forth, and it'll come apart. Now this connector board is just that, it's a connector board. There are no electronics in it. There's nothing to worry about static. All it does is connect the one wire to the other wire, so you can just set this aside until you need it to put the system back together. The next step is to remove the wiper module, and what we're going to do is we're going to gently lift up on the wiper module, and we're going to feed this cable through the hole in the back of the service station until it comes out like this. So now we have the wiper module removed from the service station. Okay, before we go any further, I just want to show you a couple of key components to the service station. On both sides of the service station, you're going to have these tracks. These tracks are what move the service station in and out and around in the printer. It's important to make sure that these are not broken or damaged. Right next to this track here, there are some little tabs. There's one tab right here, one tab right here, and then a long tab right here. It's important to be careful that you do not break these tabs, as these tabs are used by the print engine to determine the position of the service station. If one of those tabs is missing because we broke it off, the service station will not go to the proper position, and you'll get a 7201 error. The last thing on the service station to note, this is the drain where the ink comes out of the service station to head to the waste containment system. This is where we grab with the paper towel to make sure that we don't drip ink everywhere, and where we set it down on the cardboard, again to prevent excessive ink from building up anywhere. Okay, this is the wiper module. Some of the things that we're looking for here are these dark banding, this dark banding here. If you have something clogged in between the blade and the stainless steel roller, which we're going to talk about in a second, you'll see a dark band right here, a wide band, as well as a dark band in the roller where the ink can't be cleaned off. The way this works is the wiper roller wipes against the head, removing the ink from the head and into the roller. It's then squeezed against this stainless steel roller, the transfer roller, which takes the ink out of this roller and onto the stainless steel roller. And then there's a blade, which we'll look at in a moment, that cleans the stainless steel roller and removes the ink from the wiper module. A couple of key things to note. Most importantly, your wiper module may have a screw right here. This screw is what keeps this latch locked down. If yours has that screw, we're actually going to remove the screw and we're not going to need it anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this screw right now, and I'm going to take it all the way out, and there it's gone. And now I can open this clip, and there's one on each end of the service module. So there's one right here as well. And again, that screw has come out, and now this clip opens. The way the clip works is you're just going to squeeze the clip toward the back of the wiper module, and that clip will lift up and open. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the wiper roller. That's this black roller here on top. When you get a new one, they'll be white. It'll never be white again. After we wash it, it'll be a light gray. We're going to remove that from the wiper module. We want to make sure that the stainless steel roller underneath does not come out. And so what we do is we use our thumb to place over the stainless steel roller as we remove the wiper roller. As soon as I have the wiper roller out, I'm going to go ahead and close the clips down again. This will help ensure that that stainless steel roller does not come out. If the stainless steel roller comes out, it's very difficult to get it back in without damaging the blade. If you damage the blade, the system won't clean properly and you'll have to get a new wiper module. Now you'll notice that throughout the process, every time I hold the wiper module, even though my clips are closed, I'm going to have my thumb over that stainless steel roller to make sure that it does not fall out. Okay, this is the transfer roller, and on the back side of the transfer roller right here is the doctor blade. The doctor blade is what cleans the transfer roller. We're going to clean that by gently placing a utility knife between the doctor blade and the stainless steel roller. We're going to slightly turn the knife toward the stainless steel roller and then gently pull it down the length of the blade, and you'll see that it'll pull out ink and other buildup that will occur in between there. Here we are at our wash sink, and we're going to wash out both the wiper roller and the wiper module. We want to make sure that when we wash this out, we're going to run it under water. We're not going to use any chemicals to clean this, and you can see the ink coming out of the wiper roller. We're just going to keep rinsing it until the ink is out of the wiper roller. We'll cut this together. There's no need to squeeze this as you're cleaning it. We're just letting it run out. You don't want to wring this because that can damage the roller. We literally just want to wash the ink out. Okay, this is about as clean as the wiper roller is going to get. There's clean water running through it and out of it, so we can say that this is clean. We want to look for any damage that there might be to the roller. It's important not to squeeze the roller dry. There's no need to dry the roller. You can pat it dry with a towel like this so that it's not dripping. But the wiper roller is actually designed to work when it's wet, whether it's water or ink, so it actually works better when it's wet. So we just want to make sure it's not dripping, but we don't want to squeeze it dry, and certainly do not wring it dry. You'll damage the roller. For cleaning the wiper module, the important thing to note is that the entire wiper module is sealed except for this very end of the connector. So it's okay to put the motor underwater because it's sealed. It sits in ink all the time, which is water-based, so it's not going to hurt it, but this part of the connector is not sealed, so don't put that under the water. All we're going to do is run water through here and rinse this out. We've already cleaned the blade with the utility knife, so we don't have to worry about that. We're simply just washing the ink off of the wiper module. And again, it's not important to put to get the wiper module completely dry. You just don't want it dripping. It lives in a wet environment with the ink, so we just want to make sure that we're not dripping as we walk back to put this back in the printer. and get any excessive water off of it. As a side note, if you do decide to clean the cap, we're going to go ahead and just run this in the water. Now remember, the cap is closed, so it's actually going to fill up with water. The cap opens down here on the bottom when it sits down in the service tray. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to run the water over this cap and get most of the ink out. We, again, will not get all of the ink out. And the more important part is to show you this rubber track where the cap actually seals against the head. This is what we want to be clean and free of ink so that it doesn't cause ink buildup on the head. And again, we're just getting the excess ink off of this. We'll go ahead and dry this again so that it's not dripping everywhere. And you can see again the racetrack is right here that we want to have clean. Okay, now that our wiper module is clean, it's time to reassemble it and then reassemble it into the service station to put back in the printer. We're going to reverse order of what we've done. So we're going to open the clips. Notice I'm maintaining pressure on the stainless steel roller so that it doesn't come out. We're going to take the wiper roller and just drop it into place. There's only goes one way. The gears are on one end, so just line the gears up and then close the clip. Make sure the clips are all the way closed. The next step is to reassemble the service station by putting the wiper module in. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put this cable back through the hole. Now it's important to notice that as you put this back together, all of the parts want to go back to their original position. Do not force the cables to go to positions that they don't want to go to. We're going to take the connector board and reconnect this cable. Simply push it into the connector. Again, it's a one-way connector, and that's the only place that it'll go. We're going to reinsert this board with the cable going behind the board into its holder. There's a slot in the bottom of the tray the board sits in, and then gently push it back and you'll hear it click. Again, right here, our zero force connector, we want to make sure that it's open. We're going to gently open it with our fingernail. Gently open it with our fingernail. If you apply too much pressure to this little black connector tab, you're going to break it off. Okay, to insert the cable in the connector, we're going to slide the cable into the connector with the connectors facing out. Again, that's the natural position of the wire. So we're going to slide it in like this. We're going to hold it, and with our index finger, we'll close that connector. It may be easier for you to have someone help you do that, so they hold the service module while you close the connector. Again, it's a zero force insertion cable. It requires very, very small force to close that connector. You want to make sure you don't break it as you're working with it. Okay, there's two tracks that the service station rides in. This is one on the side closest to the touch panel. There's another one on the side closest to you. The service module has two tracks as well that it rides in. So we're going to put the service module inside of that track. Now it's important, this is the most important part of cleaning the service station. The service station must go in straight or you will break something. So when you're putting the service station in, you want to make sure it's straight, because if it's not straight, you will break something. Getting the service station in as straight is a very easy task. You're going to take your right hand, your index finger, and your thumb, and you're going to place them on these two tabs. You're going to gently push the service station in until it stops. Once it stops, you're going to take your left hand, your index finger, over to this big black gear closest to the touch panel. You're going to turn it so that the service station moves in about 1/4 of an inch. The way you test it to make sure it's in far enough is you grab the front of the service station and gently pull on it. If it stays in, then you've got it in far enough. You don't want to put the service station in too far, otherwise those little sensor tabs we showed you earlier will not be detected and the service station will not be able to find its position. Again, this is the most critical part of doing a cleaning on the service station. You need to make sure that you get it in straight, because if you don't get it in straight, you will break something. So we're going to look at that one more time real quick. We're going to slide the service station in onto the tracks. Right hand, index finger and thumb on the tabs. Push evenly until it stops. Keep slight pressure on it. Take our left index finger on the big black gear and turn it toward the back of the printer, toward the inlet of the printer, until the service station goes in about 1/4 of a turn. Just far enough so that when you gently tug on it, it stays in the printer. Okay, so now that we've got the service station started in the printer, what we're going to do is we're going to come back to the touch screen and hit Install Maintenance Module. You'll see the service station go back into the printer. It will bounce twice, and then the cap will come up. You should hear no grinding noise or no loud noises when this is happening if the service station is in straight. The last step of completing a cleaning of the service station is to slide this bar back in on the little posts and close the locks down so that the bar is locked in. We're going to close the clamshell and you're ready to start printing again.